Question 1. In Montana surplus lines insurance, which of the following statements regarding policy exclusions is correct? A. Policy exclusions in surplus lines insurance are always enforceable regardless of state regulations. B. Policy exclusions must be prominently displayed in the policy declaration to be enforceable. C. Policy exclusions must be reasonable and consistent with Montana insurance regulations to be enforceable. D. Policy exclusions are generally unenforceable unless expressly approved by the Montana Department of Insurance. Correct answer. C. Policy exclusions must be reasonable and consistent with Montana insurance regulations to be enforceable. Explanation. In Montana, as in most states, policy exclusions in surplus lines insurance must adhere to regulatory standards to be enforceable. Montana's surplus lines regulations stipulate that policy exclusions must be clear, conspicuous, and not contrary to public policy. Insurers are required to comply with the Montana Insurance Code, which includes provisions ensuring that policy terms are fair and reasonable. Therefore, option C is correct because it reflects the requirement that policy exclusions must meet regulatory standards to be enforceable. Question 2. During a surplus lines insurance claim investigation in Montana, an adjuster discovers potential evidence suggesting fraudulent activities by the insured. What is the adjuster's ethical responsibility in this situation? A. Ignore the evidence and continue with the investigation process as normal. B. Report the evidence to the surplus lines insurer's legal department for further action. C. Confront the insured directly to gather more information and evidence. D. Discuss the findings with colleagues to decide the appropriate course of action. Correct answer. B. Report the evidence to the surplus lines insurer's legal department for further action. Explanation. In Montana, and generally in surplus lines claims handling, adjusters have a duty to report any suspicion of fraudulent activities promptly. Ethical guidelines and state regulations require adjusters to act in the best interest of the insurer and policyholders by promptly reporting suspicions of fraud to the appropriate authorities within the insurer's organization. Reporting to the insurer's legal department ensures that proper procedures are followed and investigations are conducted within legal and ethical frameworks. Question 3. In Montana surplus lines insurance, what is a key requirement when documenting settlement agreements? A. Including a detailed breakdown of the insured's personal information. B. Ensuring that the settlement amount is communicated only verbally to the insured. C. Providing a clear and understandable explanation of the settlement terms. D. Excluding any reference to the insurer's assessment of liability. Correct answer. B. Report the evidence to the surplus lines insurer's legal department for further action. Explanation. In Montana, and generally in surplus lines claims handling, adjusters have a duty to report any suspicion of fraudulent activities promptly. Ethical guidelines and state regulations require adjusters to act in the best interest of the insurer and policyholders by promptly reporting suspicions of fraud to the appropriate authorities within the insurer's organization. Reporting to the insurer's legal department ensures that proper procedures are followed and investigations are conducted within legal and ethical frameworks. Question 4. In Montana surplus lines insurance claims handling, what is the primary purpose of gathering and evaluating evidence during an investigation? A. To determine the insured's eligibility for coverage under the policy. B. To establish the insured's financial status for potential claim payment. C. To substantiate the cause and extent of the claimed loss or damage. D. To negotiate a settlement amount with the insured. Correct answer. C. To substantiate the cause and extent of the claimed loss or damage. Explanation. In Montana, as in surplus lines insurance, generally the primary purpose of gathering and evaluating evidence during a claims investigation is to substantiate the cause and extent of the claimed loss or damage. This process helps insurers determine the validity of the claim, assess coverage under the policy terms, and make informed decisions regarding claim settlement. By gathering reliable evidence, adjusters can verify the circumstances of the loss and ensure that claims are handled fairly and in compliance with regulatory requirements. Question 5. Under Montana surplus lines insurance regulations, what role do policy endorsements play in modifying coverage terms? A. Policy endorsements are legally binding and cannot be challenged once issued. B. Policy endorsements must be approved by the insured before they are valid. C. Policy endorsements can expand or restrict coverage beyond the original policy terms. D. Policy endorsements are only applicable if they are filed with the Montana Department of Insurance. Correct answer. C. Policy endorsements can expand or restrict coverage beyond the original policy terms. Explanation. In Montana surplus lines insurance, policy endorsements play a crucial role in modifying coverage terms beyond the original policy provisions. Endorsements can add, delete, or change coverage terms and conditions based on the insured's specific needs or regulatory requirements. Insurers must ensure that policy endorsements comply with Montana insurance regulations and are clearly communicated to the insured. This flexibility allows insurers and insureds to tailor coverage to meet evolving needs or address unique risks within the surplus lines market. Question 6. Ines Rodriguez, an adjuster handling a complex surplus lines insurance claim in Montana, discovers potential conflicts of interest involving a senior executive of the insured company. What should Ms. Rodriguez do in this situation? A. Disclose the conflict of interest to her supervisor and recuse herself from handling the claim further. B. Confront the senior executive directly to address the conflict of interest. C. Ignore the conflict of interest and continue handling the claim impartially. D. Delay reporting the conflict of interest until after completing the claim investigation. Correct answer. A. Disclose the conflict of interest to her supervisor and recuse herself from handling the claim further. Explanation. In Montana surplus lines insurance claims handling and in accordance with ethical standards, adjusters must promptly disclose any potential conflicts of interest to their supervisors. By disclosing the conflict of interest, Ms. Rodriguez ensures transparency and allows her supervisor to assess the situation impartially. Recusing herself from further involvement in the claim demonstrates integrity and compliance with ethical guidelines, preventing any perceived bias or unfair advantage in handling the claim. Question 7. In Montana surplus lines insurance, what is a key consideration when negotiating a settlement agreement? A. Minimizing the insurer's financial liability without regard to the insured's interests. B. Ensuring the insured's full cooperation throughout the claims handling process. C. Adhering strictly to the initial claim assessment without flexibility. D. Providing fair compensation while maintaining compliance with policy terms and regulatory requirements. Correct answer. D. Providing fair compensation while maintaining compliance with policy terms and regulatory requirements. Explanation. In Montana surplus lines insurance claims handling, negotiating a settlement agreement involves balancing the insured's expectations for fair compensation with adherence to policy terms and regulatory requirements. Adjusters must ensure that settlement offers reflect a fair assessment of the claim's value and are in accordance with the policy's coverage limits and exclusions. Compliance with Montana insurance regulations and fair claims practices is essential to avoid disputes and uphold the insurer's ethical and legal obligations. Question 8. During a surplus lines insurance claim investigation in Montana, what role does effective communication play? A. Effective communication ensures that the insured complies with claim settlement terms. B. Effective communication facilitates collaboration with experts and specialists. C. Effective communication prevents insureds from questioning the claim assessment. D. Effective communication expedites the claims handling process to minimize costs. Correct answer. B. Effective communication facilitates collaboration with experts and specialists. Explanation. In Montana surplus lines insurance claims handling, effective communication plays a crucial role in facilitating collaboration with experts and specialists. Adjusters often need to consult with external experts, e.g., engineers, medical professionals, to assess complex claims accurately. Clear and timely communication ensures that all parties involved understand their roles and responsibilities, leading to a more thorough investigation and evaluation of the claim. This collaborative approach helps insurers make informed decisions and enhances the overall claims handling process. Question 9. Under Montana surplus lines insurance regulations, what is the significance of licensing requirements for surplus lines agents? Options A. Licensing ensures agents have knowledge of state laws and regulations governing surplus lines insurance. B. Licensing exempts agents from complying with consumer protection laws. C. Licensing allows agents to offer discounted premiums to insureds. D. Licensing guarantees coverage under the surplus lines policy issued. Correct answer. A. Licensing ensures agents have knowledge of state laws and regulations governing surplus lines insurance. Explanation. In Montana surplus lines insurance, licensing requirements for agents are crucial as they ensure agents possess the necessary knowledge of state laws and regulations governing surplus lines insurance. Agents must demonstrate competence in understanding the unique aspects of surplus lines insurance, including regulatory compliance, policy terms, and consumer protections. Licensing also requires agents to adhere to ethical standards and maintain professionalism in their interactions with insureds and insurers. Question 10. In Montana surplus lines insurance claims handling, what ethical principle guides adjusters in maintaining confidentiality? A. Disclosing sensitive claim information to the insured upon request. B. Sharing claim details with external parties to expedite the claims process. C. Limiting access to claim information to parties directly involved in the claim. D. Withholding claim information to protect the insurer's interests. Correct answer. C. Limiting access to claim information to parties directly involved in the claim. Explanation. In Montana, surplus lines insurance claims handling maintaining confidentiality is an essential ethical principle. Adjusters must limit access to sensitive claim information to parties directly involved in the claim, such as the insured, legal representatives, and necessary experts. This practice helps protect the insured's privacy rights and ensures that confidential information is not disclosed to unauthorized parties. By adhering to this principle, adjusters uphold ethical standards and comply with regulatory requirements regarding privacy and confidentiality in claims handling. Question 11. Under Montana surplus lines insurance regulations, what is the purpose of policy declarations in an insurance contract? A. They outline the insurer's financial obligations in case of a claim. B. They specify the insured's personal information for identification purposes. C. They summarize the essential terms and conditions of the insurance coverage. D. They detail the procedures for filing a claim with the insurer. Correct answer. C. They summarize the essential terms and conditions of the insurance coverage. Explanation. In Montana surplus lines insurance, policy declarations serve the purpose of summarizing the essential terms and conditions of the insurance coverage. They typically include information such as the insured's name and address, the policy period, coverage limits, and applicable deductibles. Policy declarations help insureds understand their insurance coverage at a glance and provide a quick reference to key policy provisions. Insurers are required to ensure that policy declarations are accurate and reflective of the terms agreed upon in the insurance contract. Question 12. Ms. Thompson, an adjuster handling a surplus lines insurance claim in Montana, receives conflicting expert opinions regarding the cause of damage to a commercial property. What should Ms. Thompson do to resolve this issue? A. Accept the opinion that favors the insured to expedite the claims settlement process. B. Request additional investigation and analysis to reconcile the conflicting opinions. C. Consult with legal counsel to dispute the expert opinions presented. D. Deny the claim based on the conflicting expert opinions. Correct answer. B. Request additional investigation and analysis to reconcile the conflicting opinions. Explanation. In Montana surplus lines insurance claims handling, when faced with conflicting expert opinions, the appropriate action for the adjuster, Ms. Thompson, is to request additional investigation and analysis. Reconciling conflicting opinions may involve seeking further expert input, conducting additional site inspections, or reviewing additional documentation to reach an informed decision regarding the cause of the damage. This approach ensures a thorough evaluation of the claim and allows Ms. Thompson to make a fair and well-supported decision in compliance with regulatory requirements. Question 13. Which of the following statements best describes the role of a surplus lines insurance policy? A. Surplus lines insurance provides coverage for risks that admitted insurers are unwilling or unable to cover. B. Surplus lines insurance is identical to admitted insurance but is underwritten by unauthorized insurers. C. Surplus lines insurance policies must comply with all the regulations that apply to admitted insurers in Montana. D. Surplus lines insurance is typically more expensive and offers less coverage than admitted insurance policies. Correct answer A. Surplus lines insurance provides coverage for risks that admitted insurers are unwilling or unable to cover. Explanation: surplus lines insurance provides coverage for risks that admitted insurers are unwilling or unable to cover. This type of insurance allows for greater flexibility in underwriting and policy terms, which is essential for unique, high-risk, or specialized exposures that the standard market cannot accommodate. The key characteristic of surplus lines insurance is its ability to offer solutions when traditional insurers decline coverage. Unlike admitted insurers, surplus lines insurers are not bound by the same state regulations but must comply with surplus lines regulations, including being licensed to operate within the state and adhering to certain financial standards to protect policyholders. Question 14. Mr. Thompson, a policyholder in Montana, has submitted a claim for a fire that destroyed his commercial property. During the investigation, it's found that there were inconsistencies in his reported losses. What steps should the claims adjuster take to ensure compliance with regulatory requirements and proper handling of the claim? A. Immediately deny the claim based on the inconsistencies found. B. Gather additional evidence and interview Mr. Thompson and other relevant parties to clarify the inconsistencies. C. Approve the claim based on the initial submission to expedite the process. D. Refer the claim to the insurance company's legal department for litigation. Correct answer B. Gather additional evidence and interview Mr. Thompson and other relevant parties to clarify the inconsistencies. Explanation: when inconsistencies are found in a claim, it is crucial for the claims adjuster to gather additional evidence and conduct thorough interviews with the policyholder and other relevant parties. This approach ensures that all aspects of the claim are investigated comprehensively, promoting accuracy and fairness in the claims handling process. Compliance with regulatory requirements in Montana mandates that claims are handled with due diligence, proper documentation, and effective communication. Denying the claim immediately without further investigation would be premature and could lead to potential regulatory issues, while approving it without addressing the inconsistencies would not be prudent. Referring to litigation should be considered only after all other avenues have been exhausted. Question 15. Which of the following actions is required for compliance with Montana's regulatory requirements during the surplus lines insurance claims settlement process? A. Settlements must be approved by the state insurance commissioner before they are finalized. B. Claims adjusters must document all communications and agreements in the claim file. C. Settlement offers must always be less than the policy limits to avoid overpayment. D. Insurers must inform the policyholder of their right to dispute the settlement amount in court. Correct answer B. Claims adjusters must document all communications and agreements in the claim file. Explanation: compliance with regulatory requirements during the claims settlement process in Montana involves meticulous documentation of all communications and agreements in the claim file. This practice ensures transparency and provides a clear record of the claims handling process, which is essential for regulatory compliance and effective claims management. While settlements do not need approval from the state insurance commissioner, thorough documentation supports the insurer's position in case of disputes or audits. Offering settlements less than policy limits or mandating court disputes without proper basis can lead to regulatory violations and unfair claims practices. Question 16. Mr. Anderson, insured under surplus lines insurance policy in Montana, filed a claim for water damage to his property. The insurance policy contains a provision stating exclusions: loss or damage caused by continuous or repeated seepage or leakage of water over a period of weeks, months, or years. The insurer denies the claim, citing this provision. Mr. Anderson insists that the damage occurred suddenly due to a burst pipe. What principle should determine the outcome of this claim? A. The doctrine of reasonable expectations. B. The concurrent causation doctrine. C. The efficient proximate cause rule. D. The contra profrentum rule. Correct answer. C. The efficient proximate cause rule. Explanation. In surplus lines insurance claims handling in Montana, the efficient proximate cause rule determines the outcome when multiple causes contribute to a loss. This rule states that when a covered peril and an excluded peril combine to cause a loss, the covered peril should prevail if it was the efficient proximate cause, the predominant or most direct cause. In this case, if Mr. Anderson's damage from the burst pipe is the efficient proximate cause of the loss, his claim should be covered despite the policy's exclusion for gradual water damage. Question 17. Which of the following is a recommended practice in claims investigation for surplus lines insurance in Montana? A. Rely solely on the insured's statements and documents provided. B. Use independent experts to validate the claim only if litigation is anticipated. C. Limit documentation of the investigation to avoid potential disclosure. D. Record all findings accurately and thoroughly. Correct answer. D. Record all findings accurately and thoroughly. Explanation. In Montana, as part of surplus lines insurance claims handling, it is crucial to document all findings accurately and thoroughly. This practice helps in complying with regulatory requirements and ensures transparency in claims handling processes. It also serves as crucial evidence in case of disputes or litigation. Question 18. Which statement regarding claims settlement in Montana surplus lines insurance is correct? A. Settlement agreements do not require regulatory approval if both parties agree. B. Settlement offers must always exceed the insured's initial claim demand. C. Settlement negotiations must be conducted through formal mediation. D. Settlement agreements should be clear and properly documented. Correct answer. D. Settlement agreements should be clear and properly documented. Explanation. In Montana surplus lines insurance claims settlement, it is crucial that settlement agreements are clear and properly documented to avoid misunderstandings and ensure compliance with regulatory requirements. Proper documentation helps in detailing the terms agreed upon, which is essential for both parties' understanding and for regulatory oversight. Question 19. In Montana surplus lines insurance claims handling, what ethical principle requires claims professionals to prioritize the insured's interests? A. Duty of loyalty. B. Duty of confidentiality. C. Duty of fairness. D. Duty of disclosure. Correct answer. A. Duty of loyalty. Explanation. The duty of loyalty in surplus lines insurance claims handling requires claims professionals to prioritize the insured's interests above all others, including those of the insurer. This ethical principle ensures that claims are handled in a fair and unbiased manner, focusing on achieving a prompt and equitable resolution for the insured. Question 20. Which ADR method is commonly used in surplus lines insurance claims disputes in Montana? A. Arbitration. B. Adjudication. C. Conciliation. D. Mediation. Correct answer. D. Mediation. Explanation. Mediation is a commonly used ADR method in surplus lines insurance claims disputes in Montana. It involves a neutral third party, the mediator, facilitating negotiations between the parties to help them reach a mutually acceptable resolution. Mediation is preferred in many cases due to its informal nature and ability to preserve relationships between parties. Question 21. Which action by an insurer would likely violate fair claims practices regulations in Montana surplus lines insurance? A. Delaying investigation without informing the insured. B. Denying claims based on clear policy exclusions. C. Requesting reasonable documentation from the insured. D. Reviewing claims promptly and providing reasons for any denials. Correct answer. A. Delaying investigation without informing the insured. Explanation. In Montana, fair claims practices regulations require insurers to conduct prompt investigations and communicate with the insured throughout the claims process. Delaying an investigation without informing the insured violates these regulations and can lead to unfair treatment of the insured. Question 22. In Montana surplus lines insurance, what role does the doctrine of reasonable expectations play in interpreting policy provisions? A. It favors interpretations that are most favorable to the insurer. B. It applies only when policy terms are ambiguous or unclear. C. It allows insurers to enforce policy exclusions broadly. D. It overrides statutory requirements in claims handling. Correct answer. B. It applies only when policy terms are ambiguous or unclear. Explanation. The doctrine of reasonable expectations in Montana surplus lines insurance applies when policy terms are ambiguous or unclear. It ensures that policy provisions are interpreted in a manner that aligns with the insured's reasonable expectations of coverage, even if such interpretations may be more favorable to the insured. Question 23. Which factor is critical in determining the value of a claim in Montana surplus lines insurance? A. The insured's financial history. B. The insurer's profitability margin. C. The actual cash value (SCV) of the damaged property. D. The insured's personal connections with the claims adjuster. Correct answer. C. The actual cash value (SCV) of the damaged property. Explanation. In Montana surplus lines insurance, the value of a claim is typically determined based on the actual cash value (SCV) of the damaged property. A CV represents the property's value at the time of loss, considering depreciation and market conditions. Question 24. Which regulatory aspect is specifically relevant to surplus lines insurance claims handling in Montana? A. State premium tax requirements. B. Federal labor laws. C. Municipal zoning ordinances. D. International trade agreements. Correct answer. A. State premium tax requirements. Explanation. In Montana, surplus lines insurance claims handling must comply with state regulatory requirements, including premium tax obligations. These requirements ensure that insurers operating in the surplus lines market contribute appropriately to state revenues and comply with regulatory oversight. Question 25. Which document is crucial for maintaining proper documentation in Montana surplus lines insurance claims handling? A. Insurer's internal emails discussing the claim. B. Informal notes taken during phone conversations. C. Written confirmation of claim denial sent to the insured. D. Personal diary entries of the claims adjuster. Correct answer. C. Written confirmation of claim denial sent to the insured. Explanation. In Montana surplus lines insurance claims handling, written confirmation of claim denial sent to the insured is crucial for maintaining proper documentation. It provides a clear record of the insurer's decision, which is essential for transparency and compliance with regulatory requirements. Question 26. Which situation would likely involve handling conflicts of interest in Montana surplus lines insurance claims handling? A. Adjusting a claim where the insured is a personal friend of the claims manager. B. Evaluating a claim where the insured has multiple properties insured by the same insurer. C. Negotiating a settlement with the insured's legal representative present. D. Reviewing a claim where the insured previously worked for the insurer. Correct answer. A. Adjusting a claim where the insured is a personal friend of the claims manager. Explanation. Handling conflicts of interest in Montana surplus lines insurance claims handling involves situations where personal relationships or other factors could influence the objectivity of claims decisions. Adjusting a claim where the insured is a personal friend of the claims manager presents a potential conflict of interest that must be managed ethically. Question 27. What is a key consideration when releasing settlement agreements in Montana surplus lines insurance? A. Ensuring the insured signs a non-disclosure agreement. B. Admitting liability for the insured's damages. C. Including detailed terms of the settlement agreement. D. Waiving the insurer's rights to future claims. Correct answer. C. Including detailed terms of the settlement agreement. Explanation. In Montana surplus lines insurance claims settlement, it is crucial to include detailed terms of the settlement agreement. This ensures clarity and mutual understanding of the agreement's terms by both parties, which helps prevent future disputes and complies with regulatory requirements. Question 28. Which statement about regulatory reporting requirements for surplus lines insurance in Montana is accurate? A. Reporting is only required for claims exceeding $100,000. B. Reporting must be done quarterly to the state insurance department. C. Reporting is optional for claims involving disputed coverage. D. Reporting includes details about claim settlements and reserves. Correct answer. D. Reporting includes details about claim settlements and reserves. Explanation. In Montana surplus lines insurance, regulatory reporting requirements typically include details about claim settlements and reserves. This information is crucial for regulatory oversight and ensuring compliance with state insurance laws. Question 29. In Montana surplus lines insurance claims handling, what is the purpose of reserving claim costs? A. To establish a fixed budget for litigation expenses. B. To estimate the potential financial impact of claims. C. To calculate premium adjustments for future policies. D. To limit the amount payable to the insured. Correct answer. B. To estimate the potential financial impact of claims. Explanation. Reserving claim costs in Montana surplus lines insurance helps insurers estimate the potential financial impact of claims. This is crucial for financial planning, assessing reserves, and ensuring that adequate funds are available to settle claims. Question 30. Which action by a claims professional in Montana surplus lines insurance demonstrates ethical conduct? A. Denying a claim without providing a reason to the insured. B. Advocating for the insured's interests in claims negotiations. C. Releasing confidential claim information to third parties. D. Delaying claim processing to increase settlement pressure. Correct answer. B. Advocating for the insured's interests in claims negotiations. Explanation. In Montana surplus lines insurance, ethical conduct involves advocating for the insured's interests during claims negotiations. This ensures fairness and strives to achieve a reasonable and equitable outcome for the insured. Question 31. Mr. Thompson holds a surplus lines insurance policy covering his antique collection against theft and damage. During a break-in, several valuable items are stolen. Mr. Thompson files a claim with his surplus lines insurer, providing an inventory and police report as evidence. The insurer denies coverage, citing exclusions for theft without visible signs of forced entry. Which legal doctrine supports the insurer's decision? A. Principle of contra pro forentum. B. Doctrine of reasonable expectations. C. Parole evidence rule. D. Doctrine of uberrimi fide. Correct answer. A. Principle of contra pro forentum. Explanation. The principle of contra pro forentum states that ambiguities in insurance policies are construed against the drafter, usually the insurer, and in favor of the insured. However, this principle applies only when policy language is genuinely ambiguous. In this scenario, the insurer's exclusion for theft without visible signs of forced entry is likely clear and unambiguous, thereby denying coverage under the policy terms. Question 32. Which statement accurately describes the regulator's role in surplus lines insurance claims settlement in Montana? A. Regulators directly negotiate settlements on behalf of insureds. B. Regulators ensure that claims are settled within 30 days of submission. C. Regulators monitor insurers to ensure compliance with claims handling regulations. D. Regulators arbitrate disputes between insurers and insureds over claim amounts. Correct answer. C. Regulators monitor insurers to ensure compliance with claims handling regulations. Explanation. In Montana and other states, regulators oversee insurance companies to ensure they comply with laws and regulations governing claims handling. This includes verifying that insurers handle claims promptly, fairly, and according to policy terms and state regulations. Question 33. When handling surplus lines insurance claims in Montana, which ethical consideration is paramount for claims professionals? A. Minimizing claim payouts to preserve insurer profitability. B. Maintaining confidentiality of sensitive claim information. C. Delaying claims processing to discourage fraudulent claims. D. Prioritizing insureds with higher premium policies for faster settlements. Correct answer: B. Maintaining confidentiality of sensitive claim information. Explanation: claims professionals must uphold confidentiality to protect the privacy of insureds and maintain trust in the claims handling process. This includes safeguarding sensitive information such as medical records, financial data, and personal details disclosed during the claims process. Question 34. Ms. Rodriguez, a policyholder under a surplus lines insurance policy for her business property, files a claim for fire damage. The insurer suspects potential arson due to inconsistencies in the fire department's report and requests Ms. Rodriguez's cooperation in an interview. Which statement best describes the insurer's rights and Ms. Rodriguez's obligations in this scenario? A. The insurer could compel Ms. Rodriguez to participate in the interview under penalty of policy cancellation. B. Ms. Rodriguez must consent to the interview as a condition for her claim to be processed further. C. The insurer must provide Ms. Rodriguez with detailed evidence implicating arson before requesting an interview. D. Ms. Rodriguez has the right to refuse the interview unless compelled by a court order. Correct answer: B. Ms. Rodriguez must consent to the interview as a condition for her claim to be processed further. Explanation: in surplus lines insurance claims handling, insurers have the right to investigate claims, including conducting interviews with insureds to gather information and assess the validity of claims. Insureds generally have a duty to cooperate with insurers' reasonable requests for information, which may include interviews as a condition of their insurance contract. Question 35. In surplus lines insurance claims disputes in Montana, which A. DR method is often preferred for resolving complex claim disagreements outside of court? A. Mediation. B. Binding arbitration. C. Summary jury trial. D. Mini trial. Correct answer: A. Mediation. Explanation: mediation is a voluntary, non-binding DR method where a neutral third-party mediator facilitates negotiations between parties to reach a mutually acceptable settlement. It is preferred in surplus lines insurance disputes as it allows parties to maintain control over the outcome and preserve business relationships. Question 36. Mr. Anderson, an insured under surplus lines policy in Montana, suffered a significant loss due to a fire in his commercial property. The insurer appointed an independent adjuster to investigate the claim promptly. During the investigation, the adjuster encounters resistance from Mr. Anderson's tenants, who refused to provide relevant information about the fire's cause. What should the adjuster do in this situation? A. Proceed with the investigation based on available evidence and document the refusal of cooperation by the tenants. B. Advise Mr. Anderson to take legal action against his tenants for hindering the investigation. C. Close the investigation as inconclusive due to lack of tenant cooperation. D. Request the surplus lines insurer to deny coverage based on the tenant's non-cooperation. Correct answer: A. Proceed with the investigation based on available evidence and document the refusal of cooperation by the tenants. Explanation: in Montana, surplus lines claims handling requires thorough investigation, even in cases where third parties are uncooperative. The adjuster should proceed with the investigation based on the evidence available and document any refusal of cooperation by the tenants. Montana's regulatory framework emphasizes the importance of gathering all pertinent facts to fairly evaluate claims. Question 37. When evaluating the extent and value of a surplus lines insurance claim in Montana, which of the following methods is most appropriate for determining coverage and liability? A. Utilizing standard industry benchmarks for claim valuation. B. Reliance solely on the insured's initial claim statement. C. Conducting a comparative analysis with similar claims in the region. D. Applying policy terms, relevant facts, and legal principles to assess the claim. Correct answer. D. Applying policy terms, relevant facts, and legal principles to assess the claim. Explanation. Montana requires insurers and adjusters to evaluate surplus lines claims by applying the terms of the policy supported by relevant facts and legal principles. This approach ensures fair assessment and compliance with regulatory requirements under Montana's insurance laws, which mandate accurate and objective claims evaluation practices. Question 38. In surplus lines claims handling in Montana, which ethical consideration is of utmost importance for claims professionals? A. Advocating aggressively for the insurer's position in negotiations. B. Maintaining confidentiality of all claim-related information. C. Setting unreasonably high reserves to manage claim expenses. D. Recommending settlement options beneficial only to the insured. Correct answer. B. Maintaining confidentiality of all claim-related information. Explanation. Ethical standards in Montana emphasize the confidentiality and privacy requirements in surplus lines claims handling. Claims professionals must safeguard sensitive information to protect the insured's rights and comply with legal and ethical obligations. This ensures trust and professionalism in handling surplus lines claims. Question 39. When negotiating a settlement agreement in surplus lines insurance claims in Montana, what should claims professionals prioritize to ensure compliance with regulatory requirements? A. Prompt resolution to minimize administrative costs. B. Obtaining a general release of all claims from the insured. C. Ensuring the settlement amount is fair and reasonable based on claim evaluation. D. Negotiating a structured settlement to spread payments over time. Correct answer. C. Ensuring the settlement amount is fair and reasonable based on claim evaluation. Explanation. In Montana, surplus lines claims settlement must prioritize fairness and reasonableness in the amount offered to the insured. This aligns with state regulations requiring insurers to act in good faith and ensure that settlements reflect accurate claim evaluations and the policy's coverage limits. It's crucial for claims professionals to comply with these standards to avoid regulatory scrutiny and uphold ethical claims handling practices. Question 40. In the context of surplus lines insurance claims litigation in Montana, what role does alternative dispute resolution typically play? A DR is generally not permitted in surplus lines claims due to the complexity of coverage issues. B. A DR serves as a mandatory step before any litigation can proceed in state courts. C8DR offers a confidential and cost-effective means to resolve disputes outside of court. ADR is recommended only when there are clear liability and coverage determinations. Correct answer. CADR offers a confidential and cost-effective means to resolve disputes outside of court. Explanation. Montana encourages the use of alternative dispute resolution, such as mediation or arbitration, to resolve surplus lines insurance disputes efficiently and confidentially. ADR can help parties avoid the time and expense of litigation while reaching a mutually acceptable resolution. It's a preferred method when both parties are willing to negotiate and seek a compromise outside of formal court proceedings, promoting expeditious claims resolution. Question 41. In Montana, surplus lines insurance claims handling, what is the role of utilizing outside experts and specialists during the claims investigation process? A. They are optional and can only be used with insured's consent. B. They must be hired for every complex claim to ensure thorough investigation. C. They are essential for providing unbiased opinions and technical expertise. D. They should be avoided to minimize claim expenses. Correct answer. C. They are essential for providing unbiased opinions and technical expertise. Explanation. Montana regulations acknowledge the importance of utilizing outside experts and specialists in surplus lines claims investigations to ensure thorough and impartial evaluations. These experts bring specialized knowledge and skills necessary to assess complex claims accurately, which enhances the insurer's ability to make fair claim decisions in compliance with state requirements. Question 42. When handling surplus lines insurance claims in Montana, what ethical considerations should claims professionals prioritize to maintain professionalism? A. Advocating for the insurer's position to maximize claim denial rates. B. Conducting thorough and unbiased investigations into every claim. C. Delaying claims processing to minimize insurers' financial liabilities. D. Limiting communication with insureds to avoid unnecessary disputes. Correct answer. B. Conducting thorough and unbiased investigations into every claim. Explanation. Ethical conduct in Montana surplus lines claims handling requires claims professionals to conduct thorough and unbiased investigations into every claim. This approach ensures fairness to the insured and compliance with regulatory standards, including the obligation to handle claims promptly and fairly. By prioritizing thoroughness and impartiality, claims professionals uphold the integrity of the claims handling process. Question 43. What is the significance of licensing requirements for surplus lines claims handling in Montana? A. Licensing ensures adjusters are exempt from compliance with state insurance regulations. B. Licensing is required only for insurers and not for claims adjusters. C. Licensing ensures claims adjusters possess the necessary expertise and ethical standards. D. Licensing is optional for surplus lines claims adjusters in Montana. Correct answer. C. Licensing ensures claims adjusters possess the necessary expertise and ethical standards. Explanation. In Montana, licensing requirements for surplus lines claims adjusters play a crucial role in ensuring they possess the requisite knowledge, skills, and ethical standards to handle claims effectively. This helps maintain consumer protection and regulatory compliance by ensuring only qualified individuals engage in claims handling activities. Compliance with licensing requirements is essential for claims adjusters to demonstrate competency and adherence to state insurance laws. Question 44. During the claims handling process in Montana surplus lines insurance, what is the primary responsibility of the insurer regarding communication with the insured? A. Providing regular updates on the claim status to maintain transparency. B. Limiting communication to written correspondence to avoid misunderstandings. C. Disclosing only partial information until the claim is fully evaluated. D. Delaying communication until all investigation results are finalized. Correct answer. A. Providing regular updates on the claim status to maintain transparency. Explanation. In Montana, insurers handling surplus lines claims are required to maintain transparent communication with insureds throughout the claims process. This includes providing regular updates on the status of the claim to keep insureds informed of progress and any developments. Transparent communication fosters trust and ensures insureds are adequately informed about the handling of their claims. Question 45. When interpreting policy language in surplus lines insurance contracts in Montana, what principle governs the resolution of ambiguities? A. The insured's interpretation prevails if it differs from the insurer's. B. Ambiguities are resolved in favor of the insurer to limit liability. C. Policy language is strictly interpreted against the insured. D. Ambiguous terms are clarified through statutory interpretation. Correct answer. C. Policy language is strictly interpreted against the insured. Explanation. Montana follows the principle that any ambiguity in surplus lines insurance policy language is construed strictly against the insurer and in favor of coverage for the insured. This ensures that policy terms are interpreted in a manner that provides the broadest possible protection to the insured, consistent with the insured's reasonable expectations. The strict interpretation rule supports fairness in claims handling and aligns with regulatory requirements. Question 46. During settlement negotiations in surplus lines insurance claims in Montana, what should claims professionals prioritize to achieve a fair resolution? A. Pushing for a quick settlement to reduce claim handling costs. B. Offering settlements that are lower than the estimated claim value. C. Ensuring the insured's financial losses are fully compensated. D. Including non-disclosure clauses to protect insurer interests. Correct answer. C. Ensuring the insured's financial losses are fully compensated. Explanation. Montana regulations emphasize that in surplus lines insurance claims settlement negotiations, claims professionals should prioritize ensuring that the insured's financial losses are fully compensated. This approach aligns with the insurer's duty to act in good faith and fairly assess the value of the claim based on the policy terms and factual circumstances. By focusing on fair compensation, claims professionals uphold ethical standards and regulatory requirements in claims handling. Question 47. In Montana surplus lines insurance, what factors should claims professionals consider when determining coverage and liability in a complex claim situation? A. Historical claim settlement trends of the insurer. B. The insured's financial status and credit history. C. Policy terms, relevant facts, and legal principles. D. Recommendations from the insurer's legal department. Correct answer. C. Policy terms, relevant facts, and legal principles. Explanation. When evaluating coverage and liability in surplus lines insurance claims in Montana, claims professionals must base their decisions on the policy terms, relevant facts of the claim, and applicable legal principles. This approach ensures consistency and fairness in claims handling, aligning with state regulatory requirements that mandate insurers to assess claims objectively and in accordance with the policy provisions. Question 48. What steps should claims professionals take to effectively manage litigation expenses in surplus lines insurance claims in Montana? A. Limiting the use of legal counsel to minimize costs. B. Seeking court approval for all litigation-related expenses. C. Engaging in early settlement negotiations to avoid prolonged litigation. D. Pursuing aggressive litigation strategies to expedite case resolution. Correct answer. C. Engaging in early settlement negotiations to avoid prolonged litigation. Explanation. In Montana, managing litigation expenses in surplus lines insurance claims involves engaging in early settlement negotiations to potentially resolve disputes before litigation becomes prolonged and costly. This approach not only reduces legal expenses but also promotes efficient claims resolution while complying with regulatory expectations for prompt and fair handling of claims. Effective management of litigation expenses is crucial to achieving cost-effective outcomes in surplus lines claims handling. Question 49. How does compliance with fair claims practices benefit both insurers and insureds in surplus lines insurance in Montana? A. It ensures low premiums for insureds and higher profits for insurers. B. It reduces the risk of regulatory penalties for insurers. C. It promotes trust, fairness, and prompt claims resolution. D. It allows insurers to deny more claims based on technicalities. Correct answer. C. It promotes trust, fairness, and prompt claims resolution. Explanation. Compliance with fair claims practices in surplus lines insurance in Montana enhances trust between insurers and insureds by ensuring claims are handled fairly, promptly, and in accordance with regulatory standards. This promotes customer satisfaction and loyalty while reducing the likelihood of disputes and regulatory penalties for insurers. Montana's regulatory framework emphasizes the importance of fair treatment of insureds throughout the claims handling process, reinforcing ethical standards and consumer protection principles. Question 50. When negotiating a settlement agreement in surplus lines insurance claims in Montana, what considerations should claims professionals prioritize regarding coverage determination? A. Offering settlements below the policy limits to save costs. B. Ensuring settlements align with policy terms and coverage limits. C. Including non-standard policy endorsements in settlements. D. Delaying settlements to reassess the insurer's financial position. Correct answer. B. Ensuring settlements align with policy terms and coverage limits. Explanation. In Montana surplus lines insurance claims handling, claims professionals must prioritize ensuring that settlements are in accordance with the policy terms and coverage limits. This aligns with regulatory requirements to act in good faith and provide fair compensation to insureds based on the contractual obligations outlined in the policy. By adhering to policy terms, claims professionals uphold ethical standards and regulatory compliance in claims settlement negotiations. Question 51. During the investigation of a complex surplus lines insurance claim in Montana, what role does effective documentation play? A. Documentation is unnecessary if the claim is straightforward. B. It ensures compliance with statutory reporting requirements. C. It serves as the sole basis for claim denial. D. It supports the rationale for claim decisions and actions taken. Correct answer. D. It supports the rationale for claim decisions and actions taken. Explanation. Effective documentation during the investigation of surplus lines insurance claims in Montana is essential to support the rationale for claim decisions and actions taken. It helps demonstrate compliance with regulatory requirements, ensures transparency in claims handling, and provides a clear record of the investigation process. Proper documentation also facilitates efficient communication with insureds and regulatory authorities, reinforcing the integrity of the claims handling process. Question 52. In Montana surplus lines insurance claims handling, what ethical considerations should claims professionals prioritize when interacting with insureds? A. Minimizing communication to avoid potential conflicts. B. Disclosing sensitive claim information to third parties upon request. C. Acting with honesty, integrity, and fairness in all dealings. D. Advocating solely for the insurer's financial interests. Correct answer. C. Acting with honesty, integrity, and fairness in all dealings. Explanation. Ethical conduct in Montana surplus lines insurance claims handling requires claims professionals to prioritize acting with honesty, integrity, and fairness in all interactions with insureds. This ethical standard promotes trust, ensures transparency in claims handling practices, and upholds the insurer's obligation to treat insureds fairly. By adhering to ethical principles, claims professionals contribute to maintaining the reputation and credibility of the insurance industry while fostering positive relationships with insureds. Question 53. When interpreting ambiguous language in a surplus lines insurance policy in Montana, what principle should claims professionals apply? A. Interpret the language in favor of the insured to maximize coverage. B. Seek guidance from the surplus lines insurer's legal department. C. Interpret the language in a manner that aligns with industry standards. D. Apply the principle of strict construction against the insurer. Correct answer. D. Apply the principle of strict construction against the insurer. Explanation. In Montana, surplus lines insurance policies should be interpreted using the principle of strict construction against the insurer when language is ambiguous. This principle ensures that any uncertainties in the policy terms are resolved in favor of coverage for the insured, consistent with regulatory expectations for fair claims handling. Claims professionals must apply this principle to uphold fairness and compliance with state insurance regulations. Question 54. During the initial stages of a surplus lines insurance claim in Montana, what steps should claims professionals take to ensure compliance with regulatory requirements? A. Delay assignment of the claim to an adjuster to gather more information. B. Immediately deny the claim to avoid unnecessary delays. C. Notify the insured promptly and initiate an investigation. D. Request additional premiums from the insured to cover claim costs. Correct answer. C. Notify the insured promptly and initiate an investigation. Explanation. In Montana, claims professionals handling surplus lines insurance claims must promptly notify the insured of claim receipt and initiate an investigation. This action ensures compliance with regulatory requirements for timely claims handling and demonstrates good faith in addressing the insured's claim. Prompt notification and investigation help establish clear communication and transparency in the claims handling process, supporting efficient resolution and regulatory compliance. Question 55. What ethical consideration is paramount for claims professionals when handling disputed surplus lines insurance claims in Montana? A. Advocating aggressively for the insurer's position to minimize payouts. B. Maintaining impartiality and objectivity throughout the claims process. C. Withholding claim information from insureds to protect insurer interests. D. Accepting gifts or incentives from third-party vendors involved in the claim. Correct answer. B. Maintaining impartiality and objectivity throughout the claims process. Explanation. Ethical conduct in Montana surplus lines insurance claims handling requires claims professionals to maintain impartiality and objectivity throughout the claims process, especially in handling disputed claims. This ethical standard ensures fair treatment of insureds, supports regulatory compliance, and upholds the insurer's duty to act in good faith. By remaining impartial, claims professionals can effectively evaluate claims based on factual evidence and policy terms, promoting integrity in claims handling practices. Question 56. In Montana surplus lines insurance claims handling, what steps should an adjuster take when faced with conflicting witness statements regarding the cause of loss? A. Disregard witness statements and rely solely on physical evidence. B. Prioritize witness statements over physical evidence. C. Conduct further interviews to clarify discrepancies. D. Close the investigation due to conflicting information. Correct answer. C. Conduct further interviews to clarify discrepancies. Explanation. When confronted with conflicting witness statements in Montana surplus lines insurance claims, the adjuster should conduct further interviews to clarify discrepancies and gather additional information. This approach aligns with regulatory expectations for thorough claims investigation to ensure all relevant facts are considered before making claim decisions. By resolving inconsistencies through additional interviews, the adjuster can reach a more informed decision, promoting fair and accurate claims handling. Question 57. When evaluating the value of a complex surplus lines insurance claim in Montana, what role do loss adjustment techniques play? A. Loss adjustment techniques are unnecessary in surplus lines claims. B. They serve as the sole basis for claim valuation. C. They provide a systematic approach to estimating claim costs. D. Loss adjustment techniques should only be used with insured's consent. Correct answer. C. They provide a systematic approach to estimating claim costs. Explanation. In Montana surplus lines insurance claims handling, loss adjustment techniques provide a systematic approach to estimating claim costs based on factual evidence, policy terms, and applicable legal principles. These techniques help claims professionals objectively assess the extent and value of claims, ensuring consistency and fairness in claims valuation. Utilizing these techniques enhances accuracy in determining claim costs and supports compliance with regulatory requirements. Question 58. Why is it important for surplus lines insurance claims adjusters in Montana to stay updated on regulatory developments? A. To avoid legal liabilities for non-compliance with new regulations. B. To increase the complexity of claims handling procedures. C. To reduce the insurer's administrative costs. D. To negotiate higher premiums with insureds. Correct answer A. To avoid legal liabilities for non-compliance with new regulations. Explanation. Staying updated on regulatory developments is crucial for surplus lines insurance claims adjusters in Montana to avoid legal liabilities associated with non-compliance. Montana's regulatory landscape evolves, and adjusters must stay informed of changes in laws, regulations, and industry standards that impact claims handling practices. This knowledge ensures that adjusters adhere to current requirements, maintain compliance, and mitigate risks of penalties or legal actions for regulatory violations. Question 59. In Montana surplus lines insurance claims settlement, what factors should claims professionals consider to ensure compliance with regulatory requirements? A. Settling claims quickly to minimize administrative costs. B. Offering settlements that exceed the policy limits. C. Evaluating the insured's financial losses and policy coverage. D. Including non-disclosure clauses in settlement agreements. Correct answer. C. Evaluating the insured's financial losses and policy coverage. Explanation. In Montana, claims professionals handling surplus lines insurance claims must evaluate the insured's financial losses and ensure that settlements align with the policy coverage limits. This approach supports regulatory compliance by ensuring that settlements are fair and adequate based on the policy terms and the insured's actual losses. By prioritizing thorough evaluation and compliance with policy limits, claims professionals uphold ethical standards and regulatory requirements in claims settlement negotiations. Question 60. When faced with a potential conflict of interest in surplus lines insurance claims handling in Montana, what ethical principle should claims professionals adhere to? A. Disclose the conflict of interest to the insured and seek their consent. B. Prioritize the insurer's financial interests over the insured's. C. Conceal the conflict of interest to avoid complications. D. Refer the claim to an external arbitration service. Correct answer. A. Disclose the conflict of interest to the insured and seek their consent. Explanation. Ethical conduct in Montana surplus lines insurance claims handling requires claims professionals to disclose any conflict of interest to the insured and seek their consent before proceeding with the claim. Transparency about conflicts of interest promotes trust and ensures that insureds are aware of potential biases that could affect claim decisions. By disclosing and managing conflicts of interest ethically, claims professionals uphold integrity in claims handling and comply with regulatory expectations for fair treatment of insureds. Question 61. What are the implications of failing to comply with licensing requirements for surplus lines claims adjusters in Montana? A. Increased insurance premiums for insureds. B. Loss of authority to handle surplus lines claims. C. Exemption from regulatory oversight. D. Enhanced reputation among industry peers. Correct answer. B. Loss of authority to handle surplus lines claims. Explanation. Failing to comply with licensing requirements for surplus lines claims adjusters in Montana can result in the loss of authority to handle surplus lines claims. Licensing ensures that claims adjusters possess the necessary qualifications and adhere to regulatory standards for competence and ethical conduct. Without proper licensing, adjusters may face legal penalties, including fines or suspension from handling surplus lines claims, impacting their ability to operate within the insurance industry. Question 62. In Montana surplus lines insurance, what are the key responsibilities of claims professionals during the initial notification stage of a claim? A. Delay notification until all facts are gathered. B. Notify the insured promptly and acknowledge receipt of the claim. C. Request additional premiums to cover claim costs. D. Close the claim file due to insufficient information. Correct answer. B. Notify the insured promptly and acknowledge receipt of the claim. Explanation. During the initial notification stage of a surplus lines insurance claim in Montana, claims professionals must promptly notify the insured and acknowledge receipt of the claim. This action demonstrates good faith and compliance with regulatory requirements for timely claims handling. Prompt notification also initiates the claims process and establishes clear communication with the insured, facilitating efficient resolution and ensuring regulatory compliance. Question 63. When analyzing a surplus lines insurance policy in Montana, what role do endorsements play in determining coverage? A. Endorsements modify policy terms to expand coverage. B. Endorsements are used to limit coverage under the policy. C. Endorsements are optional and do not affect coverage. D. Endorsements are only applicable to standard insurance policies. Correct answer. A. Endorsements modify policy terms to expand coverage. Explanation. In Montana surplus lines insurance, endorsements play a critical role in modifying policy terms to either expand or restrict coverage based on specific insured needs or regulatory requirements. These modifications are legally binding and must be carefully reviewed and applied when assessing coverage under the policy. Understanding the impact of endorsements ensures that claims professionals accurately interpret policy terms and provide appropriate coverage determinations to insureds. Question 64. What ethical considerations should claims professionals prioritize when handling surplus lines insurance claims involving third-party claimants in Montana? A. Minimizing communication with third-party claimants to avoid conflicts. B. Sharing sensitive claim information with third-party representatives. C. Acting with fairness and impartiality toward all parties involved. D. Delaying claim resolution to pressure third-party claimants into settlements. Correct answer. C. Acting with fairness and impartiality toward all parties involved. Explanation. Ethical conduct in Montana surplus lines insurance claims handling requires claims professionals to prioritize acting with fairness and impartiality toward all parties involved, including third-party claimants. This ethical principle ensures that claims are handled objectively, respecting the rights and interests of all stakeholders. By maintaining fairness and impartiality, claims professionals uphold trust, integrity, and regulatory compliance in claims handling practices. Question 65. In Montana surplus lines insurance claims handling, what factors should claims professionals consider when determining the validity of a claim based on policy exclusions? A. Historical claim settlement trends of the insurer. B. The insured's past claims history. C. Policy terms, exclusions, and factual circumstances. D. Recommendations from external consultants. Correct answer. C. Policy terms, exclusions, and factual circumstances. Explanation. When evaluating the validity of a claim in Montana surplus lines insurance, claims professionals should consider policy terms, exclusions, and the factual circumstances surrounding the claim. This approach ensures that claim decisions are based on the contractual obligations outlined in the policy and the specific circumstances of the loss. By applying these factors, claims professionals uphold regulatory standards and ensure consistency in claims handling practices. Question 66. During settlement negotiations in surplus lines insurance claims in Montana, why is it important for claims professionals to document all communication and offers? A. To expedite the settlement process and reduce administrative costs. B. To provide transparency and demonstrate compliance with regulatory requirements. C. To limit the insured's knowledge of the settlement negotiations. D. To avoid disclosing settlement details to third-party claimants. Correct answer. B. To provide transparency and demonstrate compliance with regulatory requirements. Explanation. Documenting all communication and offers during settlement negotiations in Montana surplus lines insurance claims is crucial to provide transparency and demonstrate compliance with regulatory requirements. Proper documentation supports the integrity of the claims handling process, ensures accountability, and provides a clear record of negotiations. By documenting communication and offers, claims professionals uphold ethical standards and regulatory expectations for fair and transparent claims settlement practices. Question 67. What role does effective communication play in managing litigation in surplus lines insurance claims in Montana? A. It allows insurers to delay litigation to reassess their legal strategy. B. It helps build trust and understanding between insurers and legal counsel. C. It reduces the need for legal representation in court proceedings. D. It restricts the flow of information to opposing parties. Correct answer. B. It helps build trust and understanding between insurers and legal counsel. Explanation. Effective communication plays a crucial role in managing litigation in Montana surplus lines insurance claims by fostering trust and understanding between insurers and their legal counsel. Clear and open communication ensures that all parties involved in the litigation process are informed of developments, strategies, and expectations. This collaborative approach enhances the efficiency of litigation management and supports the insurer's efforts to achieve favorable outcomes while complying with legal and regulatory requirements. Question 68. In Montana, what are the implications for claims professionals if they fail to properly document the findings of a claims investigation in a surplus lines insurance case? A. It may result in higher premiums for future policies. B. It could lead to regulatory fines or penalties. C. It may require reissuing the insurance policy. D. It could invalidate the insured's coverage. Correct answer. B. It could lead to regulatory fines or penalties. Explanation. In Montana surplus lines insurance claims handling, failing to properly document the findings of a claims investigation can result in regulatory fines or penalties. Proper documentation is essential to demonstrate compliance with regulatory requirements for thorough claims handling and to provide a clear record of the investigation process. Claims professionals must ensure that all relevant information and evidence are documented accurately to avoid potential sanctions and uphold regulatory standards. Question 69. When interpreting ambiguous language in a surplus lines insurance policy in Montana, what legal principle should claims professionals apply? A. Interpret the language to maximize insurer profits. B. Apply the principle of contra pro forensum against the insured. C. Seek guidance from industry standards. D. Interpret the language in favor of coverage for the insured. Correct answer. D. Interpret the language in favor of coverage for the insured. Explanation. Claims professionals in Montana should interpret ambiguous language in surplus lines insurance policies in favor of coverage for the insured. This principle ensures that any uncertainties or ambiguities in policy terms are resolved in favor of the insured, consistent with regulatory expectations for fair and reasonable claims handling practices. By applying this principle, claims professionals uphold ethical standards and ensure that insureds receive the coverage they reasonably expected under the policy. Question 70. What ethical considerations should claims professionals prioritize when handling surplus lines insurance claims involving catastrophic losses in Montana? A. Expedite claim denials to limit financial exposure. B. Provide clear and timely communication to insureds. C. Delay claim processing to assess market conditions. D. Limit communication to prevent misinformation. Question 70. What ethical considerations should claims professionals prioritize when handling surplus lines insurance claims involving catastrophic losses in Montana? A. Expedite claim denials to limit financial exposure. B. Provide clear and timely communication to insureds. C. Delay claim processing to assess market conditions. D. Limit communication to prevent misinformation. Question 71. In Montana, what factors should claims professionals consider when determining the reasonableness of a settlement offer in surplus lines insurance claims? A. The insured's financial hardship due to the claim. B. Market trends in surplus lines insurance premiums. C. Policy coverage limits and the extent of liability. D. The insurer's profitability for the fiscal year. Correct answer. C. Policy coverage limits and the extent of liability. Explanation. When evaluating the reasonableness of a settlement offer in Montana surplus lines insurance claims, claims professionals should consider policy coverage limits and the extent of liability. This assessment ensures that settlement offers align with the insurer's contractual obligations under the policy and the scope of coverage provided. By focusing on policy terms and liability exposure, claims professionals make informed decisions that comply with regulatory requirements and uphold fairness in claims settlement negotiations. Question 72. What ethical considerations should claims professionals prioritize when handling surplus lines insurance claims involving potential fraud in Montana? A. Disregarding claim evidence to avoid complications. B. Reporting suspected fraud to appropriate authorities. C. Minimizing communication with insureds to prevent conflicts. D. Settling claims without investigating fraud suspicions. Correct answer. B. Reporting suspected fraud to appropriate authorities. Explanation: ethical conduct in Montana surplus lines insurance claims handling requires claims professionals to prioritize reporting suspected fraud to appropriate authorities. Reporting fraud supports regulatory compliance and helps protect insurers and policyholders from fraudulent activities. By taking proactive measures to address fraud suspicions, claims professionals uphold integrity in claims handling practices and contribute to maintaining trust and fairness within the insurance industry. Question 73. What are the advantages of resolving surplus lines insurance claims through alternative dispute resolution methods in Montana? A. Avoiding disclosure of claim details to insureds. B. Reducing legal costs and expedite claim resolution. C. Increasing insurers' liability exposure. D. Limiting communication with legal counsel. Correct answer: B. Reducing legal costs and expedite claim resolution. Explanation: resolving surplus lines insurance claims through alternative dispute resolution (ADA) methods in Montana offers advantages such as reducing legal costs and expediting claim resolution. ADR methods, including mediation or arbitration, provide efficient alternatives to traditional litigation by facilitating negotiation and settlement outside of court. By opting for ADR, insurers can achieve timely and cost-effective claim resolutions while maintaining flexibility and preserving relationships with insureds. Question 74. What are the implications for surplus lines claims professionals in Montana if they fail to adhere to fair claims practices regulations? A. Reduced premiums for insureds. B. Increased trust among policyholders. C. Potential disciplinary action or fines. D. Exemption from claims handling requirements. Correct answer: C. Potential disciplinary action or fines. Explanation: failure to adhere to fair claims practices regulations in Montana can result in potential disciplinary action or fines for surplus lines claims professionals. These regulations are designed to protect policyholders by ensuring fair treatment during the claims process. Claims professionals must comply with these regulations to avoid penalties and maintain trust and compliance within the insurance industry. Question 75. In Montana, how do claims professionals determine the applicability of exclusions in surplus lines insurance policies? A. By interpreting exclusions liberally to maximize coverage. B. By disregarding exclusions unless explicitly stated. C. By applying the principle of strict construction. D. By referencing industry standards. Correct answer: C. By applying the principle of strict construction. Explanation: claims professionals in Montana determine the applicability of exclusions in surplus lines insurance policies by applying the principle of strict construction. This principle requires interpreting policy exclusions narrowly and in favor of coverage for the insured, particularly when the language is ambiguous or unclear. By adhering to strict construction, claims professionals ensure consistent interpretation of policy terms and uphold regulatory expectations for fair claims handling practices. Question 76. What ethical considerations should claims professionals prioritize when handling surplus lines insurance claims involving multiple insured parties in Montana? A. Favoring communication with the insured who filed the claim. B. Maintaining impartiality and fairness to all insured parties. C. Limiting information sharing among insured parties. D. Prioritizing expedited claims settlements. Correct answer: B. Maintaining impartiality and fairness to all insured parties. Explanation: when handling surplus lines insurance claims involving multiple insured parties in Montana, claims professionals should prioritize maintaining impartiality and fairness to all parties. Ethical conduct requires treating all insured parties equally, providing transparent communication, and avoiding conflicts of interest. By upholding impartiality, claims professionals contribute to fair and equitable claims resolutions while complying with ethical standards and regulatory requirements. Question 77. What steps should claims professionals take in Montana when faced with a complex surplus lines insurance claim that involves potential coverage disputes? A. Immediately deny the claim to avoid further complications. B. Request additional premiums from the insured. C. Conduct a thorough investigation and seek legal guidance if necessary. D. Delay communication with the insured to assess market conditions. Correct answer. C. Conduct a thorough investigation and seek legal guidance if necessary. Explanation. In Montana, surplus lines insurance claims handling, when faced with a complex claim involving potential coverage disputes, claims professionals should conduct a thorough investigation and seek legal guidance if necessary. This approach ensures that all relevant facts are gathered and policy terms are properly interpreted before making claim decisions. By involving legal counsel when needed, claims professionals can navigate coverage disputes effectively and uphold regulatory standards for fair claims handling. Question 78. When evaluating the value of a loss in Montana surplus lines insurance claims, what factors should claims professionals consider beyond the insured's direct financial losses? A. Market conditions affecting premium rates. B. Insured's previous claim history. C. Policy coverage limits and liability exposures. D. Internal company profit margins. Correct answer. C. Policy coverage limits and liability exposures. Explanation. Claims professionals in Montana surplus lines insurance claims should consider policy coverage limits and liability exposures when evaluating the value of a loss. This assessment ensures that claims are settled within the scope of policy terms and the insurer's financial obligations. By focusing on coverage limits and liability exposures, claims professionals uphold regulatory compliance and facilitate fair and accurate claims evaluations. Question 79. In Montana surplus lines insurance claims settlement negotiations, why is it important for claims professionals to provide clear explanations of settlement terms and options to insureds? A. To delay the settlement process and assess market conditions. B. To avoid disclosing settlement details to third-party claimants. C. To ensure insureds understand the implications of settlement decisions. D. To limit insured's participation in the settlement process. Correct answer. C. To ensure insureds understand the implications of settlement decisions. Explanation. In Montana surplus lines insurance claims settlement negotiations, providing clear explanations of settlement terms and options to insureds is crucial to ensure they understand the implications of their decisions. Clear communication helps manage insured's expectations, facilitates informed consent, and supports ethical obligations to act in good faith. By ensuring insureds comprehend settlement terms, claims professionals promote transparency, fairness, and regulatory compliance in the settlement process. Question 80. What strategies should claims professionals employ in Montana when investigating a suspected fraudulent surplus lines insurance claim? A. Ignore the suspicion to avoid complicating the claims process. B. Immediately deny the claim without further investigation. C. Conduct a thorough investigation and gather relevant evidence. D. Inform the insured about the suspicion and request more information. Correct answer. C. Conduct a thorough investigation and gather relevant evidence. Explanation. In Montana, when faced with a suspected fraudulent surplus lines insurance claim, claims professionals should conduct a thorough investigation and gather relevant evidence. This approach ensures that all facts are properly documented and substantiated before making any claim decisions. By following rigorous investigation protocols, claims professionals uphold regulatory standards and mitigate potential fraudulent activities, thereby protecting insurers and policyholders from financial harm. Question 81. What ethical considerations should claims professionals prioritize when negotiating settlements in Montana surplus lines insurance claims? A. Maximizing insurer profitability through low settlements. B. Engaging in aggressive negotiation tactics to expedite settlements. C. Ensuring settlements are fair and reasonable for insureds. D. Withholding settlement details from insureds to avoid conflict. Correct answer. C. Ensuring settlements are fair and reasonable for insureds. Explanation. Ethical conduct in Montana surplus lines insurance claims handling requires claims professionals to prioritize ensuring settlements are fair and reasonable for insureds. This ethical principle emphasizes transparency, fairness, and respect for insured's rights and interests. By negotiating settlements that align with policy terms and adequately compensate insureds, claims professionals uphold integrity and regulatory compliance in claims settlement practices. Question 82. What are the potential consequences for claims professionals in Montana who mishandle documentation during surplus lines insurance claims litigation? A. Increased trust from policyholders. B. Enhanced reputation among industry peers. C. Legal penalties or adverse court rulings. D. Exemption from further claims handling requirements. Correct answer. C. Legal penalties or adverse court rulings. Explanation. Mishandling documentation during surplus lines insurance claims litigation in Montana can lead to potential legal penalties or adverse court rulings for claims professionals. Proper documentation is essential to support legal arguments, demonstrate compliance with regulatory requirements, and substantiate claim decisions in court. Claims professionals must maintain accurate and thorough documentation throughout the litigation process to mitigate legal risks and uphold professional standards in claims handling. Question 83. What are the key regulatory requirements in Montana that surplus lines claims professionals must adhere to during the claims handling process? A. Ensuring timely claim denials to avoid prolonged investigations. B. Providing detailed claim summaries only upon request. C. Complying with fair claims practices and consumer protection laws. D. Limiting communication with insureds to avoid potential conflicts. Correct answer. C. Complying with fair claims practices and consumer protection laws. Explanation. In Montana surplus lines insurance, claims professionals must adhere to regulatory requirements for fair claims practices and consumer protection laws. These regulations ensure that insureds are treated fairly throughout the claims handling process, including timely handling, accurate assessment, and proper communication of claim decisions. By complying with these requirements, claims professionals uphold ethical standards, maintain regulatory compliance, and protect the interests of insureds. Question 84. When interpreting coverage under surplus lines insurance policy in Montana, what role do policy endorsements play? A. Endorsements are mandatory additions to all policies. B. Endorsements modify or expand policy terms. C. Endorsements are optional and do not affect coverage. D. Endorsements restrict coverage under the policy. Correct answer. B. Endorsements modify or expand policy terms. Explanation. Policy endorsements in Montana surplus lines insurance play a crucial role in modifying or expanding policy terms to meet specific insured needs or regulatory requirements. These modifications are legally binding and must be carefully reviewed and applied when determining coverage under the policy. By understanding the impact of endorsements, claims professionals ensure accurate interpretation of policy terms and provide appropriate coverage determinations to insureds. Question 85. What ethical considerations should claims professionals prioritize when handling surplus lines insurance claims involving confidential information in Montana? A. Disclosing confidential information to third parties for claim resolution. B. Ensuring secure handling and protection of confidential information. C. Delaying claim processing to assess confidentiality risks. D. Limiting communication with insureds to protect confidentiality. Correct answer. B. Ensuring secure handling and protection of confidential information. Explanation. Ethical considerations in Montana surplus lines insurance claims handling require claims professionals to prioritize ensuring secure handling and protection of confidential information. Protecting confidentiality is crucial to maintaining trust and integrity in the claims process, as insurers have legal and ethical obligations to safeguard sensitive information. By implementing appropriate security measures and limiting access to confidential data, claims professionals uphold ethical standards and comply with regulatory requirements in claims handling practices. Question 86. In Montana, what steps should claims professionals take to ensure compliance with regulatory requirements during the initial reporting of a surplus lines insurance claim? A. Delay reporting until all evidence is gathered. B. Notify the insured and delay reporting to the insurer. C. Promptly report the claim to the insurer and document all details. D. Wait for regulatory authorities to request the claim report. Correct answer. C. Promptly report the claim to the insurer and document all details. Explanation. In Montana, surplus lines insurance claims handling, claims professionals should promptly report the claim to the insurer and document all relevant details. Timely reporting ensures compliance with regulatory requirements for notification and allows insurers to initiate the claims process promptly. By documenting all claim details at the outset, claims professionals support accurate assessment and processing of the claim, demonstrating adherence to regulatory standards and ethical practices. Question 87. When negotiating a settlement in surplus lines insurance claims in Montana, why is it important for claims professionals to consider potential indemnity payments? A. To minimize insurers' financial liability. B. To expedite claim resolution without assessment. C. To increase premiums for future policies. D. To accurately assess the insurer's financial obligations. Correct answer. D. To accurately assess the insurer's financial obligations. Explanation. Claims professionals in Montana surplus lines insurance claims should consider potential indemnity payments when negotiating settlements to accurately assess the insurer's financial obligations under the policy. Evaluating indemnity payments ensures that settlements align with policy terms and adequately compensate insureds for covered losses. By conducting thorough assessments of indemnity payments, claims professionals uphold ethical standards, promote fair claims handling practices, and comply with regulatory requirements. Question 88. What are the advantages of maintaining detailed claim files during surplus lines insurance claims litigation in Montana? A. Avoiding involvement of legal counsel in the litigation process. B. Providing transparency and supporting legal arguments. C. Withholding information from opposing legal parties. D. Minimizing communication with insureds. Correct answer. B. Providing transparency and supporting legal arguments. Explanation. Maintaining detailed claim files during surplus lines insurance claims litigation in Montana provides advantages such as transparency and supporting legal arguments. Detailed files document the chronological progression of the claim, including investigations, evaluations, and communications. This documentation supports legal arguments, facilitates transparency in litigation proceedings, and enhances the insurer's ability to defend its position effectively. By prioritizing detailed claim files, claims professionals demonstrate diligence, professionalism, and adherence to regulatory standards in claims handling practices. Question 89. What are the implications for claims professionals in Montana who failed to disclose material facts during the investigation of a surplus lines insurance claim? A. Increased premiums for future policies. B. Enhanced credibility with policyholders. C. Potential legal repercussions or sanctions. D. Exemption from regulatory reporting requirements. Correct answer. C. Potential legal repercussions or sanctions. Explanation. In Montana surplus lines insurance claims handling, failure to disclose material facts during the investigation of a claim can result in potential legal repercussions or sanctions for claims professionals. Disclosure of material facts is essential to ensure transparency and fairness in claims handling practices as required by regulatory standards. Claims professionals must accurately document and disclose all relevant information to avoid legal risks, uphold ethical standards, and maintain compliance with regulatory requirements. Question 90. How do claims professionals determine the applicability of coverage exclusions in Montana surplus lines insurance policies? A. By applying the doctrine of reasonable expectations. B. By ignoring exclusions unless they are explicitly stated. C. By limiting communication with insureds. D. By interpreting exclusions broadly to minimize coverage. Correct answer A. By applying the doctrine of reasonable expectations. Explanation. Claims professionals in Montana surplus lines insurance policies determine the applicability of coverage exclusions by applying the doctrine of reasonable expectations. This doctrine ensures that policy terms are interpreted in a manner that aligns with the insured's reasonable expectations of coverage, especially when exclusions are ambiguous or unclear. By applying this principle, claims professionals uphold fairness, protect insured's interests, and comply with regulatory expectations for interpreting policy terms.